I've noticed a trend. You can't talk about Marvel Rivals without bringing up Overwatch in some way, shape or form. And that goes both ways. One always has to be better than the other. And I feel many people are making opinions with an already bad mindset of the other game. And look, I did too at first. I was singing the praise of Marvel Rivals because Overwatch 2 had already disappointed me enough. And I even deleted Overwatch 2 as soon as Rivals released. But I didn't really give it a fair shot, and I doubt a lot of other players did as well. So I wanted to quickly go back to Overwatch 2 and give it a fair chance to find the pros and the cons of the game. And I decided to do this for Marvel Rivals as well, to figure out which one deserves your time. Now I want to start off by making this extremely clear. I am a turbo casual at these games. You're not getting any GM opinion in either game, but I feel pretty confident in saying that casuals make up the majority of the player base for these two games, or at least it was. I played Overwatch a fair bit. I would even go so far as to say Overwatch 1 is one of my favourite games of all time. I have thousands of hours on Overwatch across both PC and console, so I feel like I can give it a relatively fair review. So let's jump into it. I ended up playing 10 games of both Overwatch and Marvel Rivals to get a quick look and feel of both games. I noted down what character I played, whether we won or lost, and just some standout notes I felt like I wanted to add. Starting with Overwatch, I jumped into game 1 and decided to pick a hero I haven't really tried yet, so I went with Juno, because she looked the most appealing right off the bat. And I already want to start with a pro that Overwatch has, and that's its characters. They do a really good job making their new characters appealing and enjoyable. It's not easy to make completely new characters, let alone have people actually like them. They have been doing a really good job of that, and I think the only real letdown of recently would be the new guy Hazard, but I will say his gameplay makes up for that. Nonetheless, we won the first game, and unfortunately I did find a con straight away. And that's the maps. Not how they look, just how big some of them can be, making the pace of the game feel really slow. One death, more or less, turns the game into a walking simulator until you get back to the fight, only to find your team is dead because both healers died. Overall, I did really enjoy this one, and Overwatch is off to a good start. Let's see how long this will last. Game 2, I played Venture, and sadly we did lose. I also felt Overwatch's time to kill seemed a little inconsistent. Players either explode turning around a corner, or it takes 5 to 6 business days to get someone down to half HP. Thankfully, over these 10 games, I never came across Mauga. I hear he's a little bit of an issue. Make sure to let me know in the comments how much you love or hate Mauga. I want to see how people feel about him. Game 3, I ended up playing the new guy, Hazard, and he was actually a lot of fun. Tank has always been a role I wanted to love, but could never really enjoy once they swapped to 5v5. But let's not get into that debate. Anyway, we lost this game, but I still had a good time. I did start to see a little bit of a pattern with how some characters are balanced, but I'll go into that a little later. Game 4, I played Ramatra, and I will say this game was the most fun. Not because we won, but because I played Ramatra. He is hands down my favourite character in Overwatch 2, and this shows how important the actual character, not just their gameplay, can be. Ramatra's abilities and his overall aesthetic are extremely enjoyable. I did hear that they got rid of his ability to punch through shields. Is this true? I can't really be bothered checking, but if so, that's a little disappointing. That was something that made him really stand out. That doesn't matter right now. I still had a great time with this match. Things are going surprisingly well. Did we all give Overwatch 2 too much hate? We'll just have to see. In Game 5, I played Baptiste, my favourite support, and even though I enjoy playing Bap, at this point I started to get a little bored with Overwatch, and noticed something major about the feel of the game. Its impact moments aren't actually impactful enough. What do I mean by this? Well, in a game like this, everyone should feel like they are doing something to help the team. One way of doing this is using things like your ultimate to pull off big plays that impact the game in a big way. Yes, Overwatch has these moments, but I've noticed that even if you get something like a team wipe with your ult, it feels anticlimactic. I Didn't want to start the comparison yet, but real quickly I wanted to say something Rivals does better than Overwatch. Let's take Doctor Strange vs Reinhardt. Both have a stun-like ultimate. The impact of Strange's Eye of Agamotto is a lot more satisfying than Reinhardt's Earthshatter, since Strange's ult has a build-up to an explosive execution, whereas Reinhardt's ultimate is a quick, heavy slam. And that's it. It's over too quickly, and it takes away from the fun factor of using these really powerful ultimate attacks. Game 6 was a win playing Junker Queen, and we did way too well in this game. I could tell they really wanted to make Queen feel powerful, maybe a little too powerful, if you ask me. I kind of came to the conclusion that Overwatch might be suffering from power creep. Now hear me out. I've noticed most of the characters added in Overwatch 2 have so much they can do, and it arguably outshines the OG cast. Take characters like Queen, Hazard, Mauga, Kiriko, Juno, and so forth. The things they can do feel so much stronger and more useful than what some of the older characters can do. I could really notice that by my desire to play certain heroes. I actually have to go out of my way to pick someone from the original Overwatch cast that wasn't someone I already knew I liked playing. Game 7 was a loss, playing Sigma, and this was the game I actually made the decision on playing 10 games. I was extremely unengaged with this match, to the point where I had no outstanding positives or negatives really. We'll move on to Game 8. I played Bastion, and yeah, we won, but I was sort of already sick of the game. That burst of fun at the start unfortunately faded away kinda quickly. And it's truly unfortunate because I really wanted this to be a video where I could say, yeah, Overwatch 2 is a fun game to play. But how can I say that when only on Game 8 I wanted to pack it up? So really quick running through Games 9 and 10, I played Ashe and then Reaper, and the only note I've got for this one is that the long range combat in Overwatch still feels great. Besides the Ramatra match, the Ashe game was probably the most fun one, but even then I was ready to call it a day. So to sum up the pros and cons, the pros, some enjoyable engagements like games 4 and 9. Heroes are still spectacular, except for maybe Hazard, but like I said, his gameplay was fun enough. And at the end of the day, winning a game still feels satisfying after all these years. The cons, thanks to the larger maps, 95% of the time, the game feels way too slow. Feels real shitty, walking so far just to lose the team fight instantly, then have to walk back all over again. The TTK, time to kill, just felt really inconsistent. The impact moments aren't impactful enough. And remember, this is a casual perspective. And from a casual perspective, some of the characters feel very overtuned. And also a little extra note I wanted to add, ability interactions can be very unfortunate. In saying that, I mean so many abilities can just be completely denied at the click of a button. But overall, what did I think of Overwatch after 10 games? There is a burst of fun to be had, but I wouldn't recommend sitting down and playing a bunch of games. Maybe 3 to 4, then call it before things start to get stale. I feel like what Overwatch really needs? More cinematics, or just a show in general, using the same style as the original cinematics. Obviously the PvE would have been the perfect thing for that, but we all know how that ended. I do want to say, fuck the guys at the top who made the decision to kill PvE. There were people that worked so hard on that stuff, and I feel really bad for everyone who actually wanted PvE to be something great. And I also feel bad for people like Aaron Keller and his team who had to take the brunt force of the bad decisions the higher ups made. It's sad I can't praise Overwatch, but it's just how things work nowadays, and I wouldn't be surprised if something really shitty happens to Rivals later down the line. But, speaking of Rivals, let's get into those games to see how they went. Now I want to quickly say, please don't pay attention to the god-awful aim I have. I'm trying to get good on console again since I can't play it on my computer. It's been struggling lately. I swear it has the memory of a goldfish with dementia and performs like a snail trying to outrun a cheetah. So I'm still trying to work out my controller sensitivity. So just bear with me, thanks. Starting off strong, I played Magic, we lost. And my only real note for this game was I got caught on the environment and died, and I've noticed this happens a fair bit with the maps. Game 2 was a lot better. I played Doctor Strange and had a blast. Marvel Rivals was able to build its tanks to be fun to play with or without a supporting tank. It's something Overwatch is getting better at, but they still have a long way to go. Oh yeah, we did win this game, by the way. Game 3 was a win with Groot, and yeah, like I said, they found a way to make tanks feel really good to play and understand. This was my first real time playing a full game of Groot. I was able to pick up his playstyle very quickly. Game 4 sadly was a loss playing Thor, but I still had a great time. Thor's kit is a very fun one to try and get good with. Game 5 was a Captain America win, and yeah, it was great. Nothing much else to say there. Game 6 was a Psylocke game, and while we did lose, I had a good time. Marvel Rivals maps feel so good to play in. Their size is perfect, giving you enough time between the spawn points and the objectives to recuperate and get ready to jump back in. My only issue with the maps is sometimes you can get caught on the terrain, like I said before. Game 7 was a loss playing Moon Knight, and yes, while I understand you can set it to where you only get console players in a game, I still really feel the difference between PC and console players. Marvel Rivals is such a fast game, and you tend to lose more often if you play slower than your opponent. The game seems to heavily favor people on PC, but hey, it's my job to learn and get better. I really wish I could be playing on PC, but hey, if you like and subscribe, it'd make me feel a little better, and it would help me forget how trash I am at aiming. Game 8 was another great one. I played as Namor, and around this time I still wanted to keep playing. I wasn't feeling burnt out yet. Game 9, while it was very annoying to solo heal, since I really wanted to play Loki, overall this game was, you know, alright, but the issue of no one wanting to play healer is very prevalent. I still don't think this game needs a role queue though. It would ruin the freedom of choice people have in this game. And finally, Game 10. It was a loss playing Cloak and Dagger, and all I really got out of this game was finding out that the late night quick play sweats aren't messing around. I should probably go touch some grass. And with that, let's go through the pros and cons. Pros: extremely engaging gameplay, every role is enjoyable in some way, especially tanks. Map design is almost perfect. Couple cons: I did notice in smaller choke points the visual clutter can be crazy. Playing solo tank or heals, while fun, can be really annoying. This game is still new, and I'd like to hope people try other roles instead of just DPS. The speed of the game really favors PC over console, but that's probably a skill issue on my part, and some of the terrain on maps can really get in the way and maybe ruin the flow of gameplay. So in the end, yeah, there is really no question. If I had to recommend one of these games, I'm gonna say Marvel Rivals. But do I think Overwatch deserves all the hate it gets? Oh, absolutely not. Underneath all the terrible decisions that they've made over the years, there's still a fun game to play. And I really think all Overwatch really needs to do to get things up and running again is to make an animated show to get people invested in the biggest strength of Overwatch. Its characters. So am I going to delete Overwatch again and not look back? Not yet. I want to see what they do with this game from here on out. And before people continue to hate Overwatch 2, I'd say you do what I did. Play 5, 10, maybe even 15 games, and then come to your conclusion. Thank you to those who stayed till the end. It's been a struggle figuring out what I want to do with this channel. And 2024 overall was a struggle to get through on YouTube, with some really high highs and some really devastating lows, but we push forward. I'm going to continue to try and make the best content I can for you. So once again, thank you.